to Quick as a Wink Theatre Society's spotlight on Baskerville, a Sherlock Holmes mystery. I have with me on stage here today the cast of Baskerville. We have Andy Ashdown, Lily Ashdown, Isaac McWhinney, Frieden Gilbert, and Naomi Hammond. I'm your host of this spotlight, David Myles. I'm also pulling double duties as director of the show. So figured we'd have a few minutes to sit down and talk to the cast and get an idea of what the play's about, ask the cast a few questions, and just get a little bit of background on the cast and what they think of their characters. And maybe we'll talk a little about Sherlock Holmes. So the first question is, how did you get started with Quick as a Wink? I'm going to pass the microphone.
My first show with Quick as a Wink was Little Shop of Horrors in 2014. I played the customer and another character whose name I can never remember. I was basically the ensemble, even if there is no ensemble in Little Shop. But yeah, that was my first involvement with Quick as a Wink.
I started in 2017 with A Christmas Carol, and I played Sally Anderson, and it was like the most exciting thing I'd done so far, so I got really excited about it and just couldn't wait to come back.
Okay, my next question is going to be for Andy. Andy, how long have you been involved with theater?
Ooh, a while. I think the first show that I was ever in that was sort of not a school show, I would have been about 11 or 12 years old, which means that, I mean, if I'd done it continuously, that would be 19 years. In reality, I did a few shows sort of a couple of years after that, and then wasn't on stage again until a couple of years ago when I was in Faith County 2 with Quick as a Wink. But in the meantime, I'd done things like I'd done a few sort of murder mystery evenings. We'd written and performed in a few of those, which basically, you know, people come and have dinner and then they work out which one of us has killed the other one of us. And did a few sort of odd sort of sketches and skits and that kind of thing. Other than that, I've mostly been backstage, so I've done sort of front of house and done lighting and sound stuff for like live music and stuff like that. That's what I did about 10 years ago. So I've kind of sort of come full circle and I'm back on stage again.
Nice. Okay, what is your favorite theater accomplishment or memory? Let's see if we can get an answer from Lily and Frieden on this one.
So my favorite, I have a couple, but I'll just narrow it down to three. The first one obviously is getting the Winky for Best Featured Actress in a Play, and more importantly being with someone that I admire as well in that category, Carol Ball, who also won. That was fantastic. My second one would be the fact that I got cast in, it was just an odd statement, in a one-woman show that Carol was doing for Irma Bombeck at Wits End, and I got to be the voice of Betty Friedan, and that's fantastic as a feminist and just overly excitable person. And I was really impressed as well. My other achievement is getting to work with Valley Ghost Walks, which is something I've been doing, and getting to write for Valley Ghost Walks, which is fantastic when you're on the stage and then you get to see the work behind it and write it and then see someone else bring it to life. Hoo boy, that's exciting. So.
My favorite accomplishment, I guess, would be actually getting up here and doing this in the first place. I used to be a lot more kind of quiet and reserved and anxious, so it's a big thing for me to be able to do this now. And it started by doing improv and stuff with Mermaid Theatre Youth Group, and we went to Drama Fest for a few years in a row, and I really loved doing that. We sort of wrote our own plays and performed them there, so yeah, it's a great memory of mine.
Excellent, thanks guys. So the next question, which we'll do this one as an open mic, so anybody can answer it. What is your favorite and least favorite parts about acting? Who wants to tackle that one? Naomi?
So I definitely have a least favorite part. So I think what my least favorite part about acting is when you're going into an audition room, even though you're knowing that you're all there to support each other and it's going to be fun, it is still a competition. in a way, because even though you're all friends and you all want to be happy for each other, you all want the role. So if you don't get it, it's sometimes hard to be happy for the other person as much as you want to be.
I'd say that like the best part of acting, just to sort of do the other end, is almost the complete other end of the sort of thing. When you eventually do get to the point where you're in front of an audience and you're performing and you can feel the energy coming off the audience, and then you're giving back and it's sort of coming back to you. Especially something like this, when you're doing kind of a comedy thing, people start laughing, they start getting into it. I just feel like you're really entertaining people. You're having fun, they're having fun, and like all of the kind of hard work and everything else just kind of melts away, and then you're just there in the moment, and you're like, this is why I put up with all the other stuff, you know, right?
Perfect, thanks. Okay, let's do another open mic question. And this one's actually quite interesting. So if you could play any role, what would it be? Who wants to take a stab? Well,
One of my dream roles would be either in the play version or the musical version, even though my singing is like not on par. I would be Max Bialystock from The Producers. I would love to play him and or her, I guess. It could be Maxine, who knows? I'd love to play that, or an Arsenic No Lace, one of the aunts. I would love to be one of the aunts. Didn't matter who, but I mean, if you've seen the film version, then probably the larger one. That is what it is. So, did you have a dream?
You know, there's a lot of great roles out there. Whenever I think about this, I can never really pick one, but I think I really would love to be the voice of Audrey too, in Little Shop of Horrors. Yeah, you know, first show, that's the part I auditioned for. Of course, I didn't get it because I was like young.
Your voice breaking like.
Read me, Seymour. But yeah, that would be my dream role. Or else, like maybe something from the Book of Mormon. I just love that book.
Okay. There's definitely a lot, but I think the two that I care about the most is I really, really would love to play the role of Eponine in Les Mis, or Sophie in Mamma Mia. Those are the two.
all right, let's keep with the open mic going. So here's another question: who are some of your acting idols? You guys have any acting idols? Anybody you look up to?
I have one, but I've answered all the questions.
That's okay. Sure.
I was nailing this. Yeah.
So this is a bit of an odd one, but Andrew Barth Feldman is a 16-year-old, and he recently got cast in the role of Evan Hansen on Broadway, and I just think that is so super cool, and he's definitely someone that I've been looking up to over these past, like, couple of weeks that he's been doing this.
Well, there's a couple really, and they're all, well, I'm fairly sure at least two of them are dead. I've got three really. I think that in terms of kind of comedy and all the rest of it, I really, really love watching Cary Grant and Danny Kaye. Like, I think they're just great. But the other person I've kind of been sort of looking to for this role is Christopher Plummer, especially in movies from like he was in like the 70s and things like that. I really like him. He's got such a sort of wry kind of presence. I think that works really well.
Big Hammer fan, huh? Just a little bit. Good stuff. Okay, here's a good one. What is your favorite mystery or detective story? Does anybody have a favorite?
The Murders in the Rue Morgue by Edgar Allan Poe. That's my favorite. That's all I have to say, pretty much. I just love it so much.
I do. Sure.
I mean, I'm a big Sherlock Holmes fan, so obviously Hound of Baskerville is one that I always loved growing up, but I love the story of the Sussex Vampire, which is another Sherlock Holmes story. If you haven't read it, it's maybe like 6 pages of nonsense, and I love it. And obviously, I'm a big fan of Murder, She Wrote, so the entire work of Murder, She Wrote, very specifically the episode where she goes to Ireland, I think that is one of my favorite mysteries. The cliffhanger is where she's in a dungeon in a castle with rats, and all she's got left is one like hard candy because she's like obviously a nana at heart. Love it. So I'm like that. I grew up watching that and Scooby Doo. So I mean, mysteries for me were always tied together with a bit of fun, and I think that really helps with this as well, where there's a mystery, but there's a lot of fun to it.
Fantastic. Okay. What drew you to audition for this play? Who wants to take a stab at that one? What drew you to Hound of the Baskervilles?
I auditioned for this play for 2 reasons, pretty much. The first was that it was a play, and I've never done a play before. I've always done musicals. And I thought that'd be a new experience, which it has been. And also the fact that I've never been in a production with someone I didn't know. I've always had at least one friend. So I figured it would build character to sort of go into something with complete strangers and then make friends along the way. Yeah. So Carlton's dad was ready.
Have you built your character?
Yes, it has. I really enjoyed it.
My answer's a lot shorter. Pam Moore told me I had to. She told me, like, you better be auditioning for that, is what she said to me. So, that's why I ended up auditioning.
We're glad you did. We're glad you all did. Okay, so originally published in 1922, The Hound of the Baskervilles by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle still captures the imaginations and curiosity of audiences today. Why do you think in 2019 we are still visiting this classic story and its iconic characters? What's kept the spirit of Hound of the Baskervilles alive? Why is it such an interesting story? Okay, Andy?
I've actually been thinking about this quite a lot because it is probably by quite a long way the most well-known Sherlock Holmes story. And I think it's because it blends kind of 2 genres, and that's kind of this sort of gothic kind of horror with the hound and the legend and everything else, with kind of a Sherlock Holmes story where, you know at the end someone's going to come in and go, aha, no, it was actually all this, this is what actually happened. There was no real ghostly hound chasing people everywhere. But then I think I realised, sort of thinking about the story again, the core mystery of the story gets solved, but at the end of the day, there's still the legend that Dr. Mortimer tells at the beginning about how Sir Hugo was chased and killed by this gigantic hound. And so at the end, even though they've kind of sort of got rid of the sort of maybe fake hound, they're still sort of thinking, well, maybe the real one's still out there somewhere, and that never ever sort of goes away. And it has a kind of ambiguity there, which isn't in any of the other Sherlock Holmes stories. I really like that.
Fantastic answer. So to our audience, if you're not familiar with the story of the Hound of the Baskervilles, again, it was written in 1922. The original story does play more the gothic horror. It's a straight-up Sherlock Holmes detective mystery. The difference with the version that we're presenting through Quick as a Wink is our version is the tale of the Hounds of Baskerville, but it's a comedy. So Ken Ludwig, who wrote the screenplay, has taken the story, the Hound of the Baskervilles, and actually turned it into a comedy. So we have 5 actors. We have Andy playing Sherlock, and we have Lily playing Watson, and the remaining 3 actors are playing upwards of 30 characters combined. So there's going to be a lot of set changes, a lot of costume changes, and our actors are literally going to be changing characters on stage in front of you. So it's going to be really, really cool. So it's a comedy. Come out and see it. It's going to be fantastic. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I probably should have made that clear. Our version is not gothic horror.
It's a little gothic horror. It's a little, yeah. Don't worry. It's still there, but we're having fun with it. That's the key thing. We're having fun. So last question. Of all the different Holmes and Watsons over the years, who have been your favorite versions of the classic characters? So, with the tales of Sherlock Holmes, there's been multiple interpretations of the character on American television, certainly through BBC, and even the most recent with Benedict Cumberbatch. So, again, big question: who are your favorite? Who are your favorite characters? Classic characters playing Holmes and Watson. Okay, Lily.
As I said, I'm a huge Holmes fan. So for Holmes, I love Richard Roxburgh. He did a version of Hound of the Baskervilles. He's fantastic. 2005. For those of you playing along at home, 2005. It was a great version. Matt Frewer did an amazing version that was actually on CTV when I was a kid. What year? 2005. I loved him. He brought out the comedic aspects and the almost cartoonish aspects of Holmes. I absolutely loved Peter Cushing in the Hammer version.
1965.
1965. And my favorite Watson is actually from the Hammer version as well, who was Andre Morel. And I found him to be something that I tried to pull on when doing the more serious moments of Watson in this play, as well as the Watson that was in Sherlock Holmes in the 22nd century, a very shortly lived, strangely, cartoon when I was a child, where Watson was a cyborg and Sherlock Holmes was preserved in honey, and they brought him back because Moriarty was back, and I think Moriarty was a cyber virus or possibly a ghost, and it was great. It was great. Also, obviously, Wishbone as Sherlock Holmes really informed my love of Sherlock Holmes. Anyone else?
Yeah, come on.
I really enjoyed Johnny Depp's vocal performance in Sherlock Holmes.
Yes.
No, I'm kidding. I didn't see that movie.
What? It was great.
Okay, so I have to admit, I really do love the new show Sherlock, but my favorite Watson ever, I've lost the actor's name and it's killing me, but the one who plays him alongside Robert Downey Jr.
Jude Law.
Yes, Jude Law. He's so good in that role, and he's like one of the main reasons that I love those two movies is just because of him, and he's a great Watson. So there we go.
Okay. Well, I was just going to say this because I do like him, but also because this will really annoy Lily. I'm going to say Johnny Lee Miller.
Oh, right, he was in the. Is the show still on? Elementary? Yeah. Is it still on TV?
I have no idea.
No.
Yeah. I don't think it lasted very long, a couple seasons maybe. Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
good in it though.
Very good.
I'll just say that, he's good.
Excellent. Perfect. Anybody have anything else to offer? Good?
Come to the show.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So we're going to wrap up this edition of Spotlight. And like Naomi said, we want you to come out and see the show. The show will open March 15th. And for those watching the Spotlight, we do have a special treat for you. Stay to the end of the Spotlight. We will be premiering a teaser trailer for Baskerville Sherlock Holmes Mystery. It's just a quick 60-second spot that we whipped up. We had some fun with it. We actually took one of the scenes from the play, and we just had a lot of fun with it. And it's really just meant to highlight how fun the play is, and certainly the comedic angle of the play. So check out the trailer. We'll release it as a separate video as well on the Quick as a Wink site, and hope to see you at the show. We open March 15th. Thanks a lot.
Called cold, dear man.
No! It's this poisonous atmosphere!
Well, it is rather thick, but as a medical man, you will admit that smoking is good for the health.